Hi, Dave Jones here again. Within this lesson we're going to look at major 7, minor 7 and dominant 7 arpeggios in 1 2-octave fingerboard position. It's an extension to the major and minor arpeggios. If you don't know too much about the arpeggios and how they're spelt, it's called like root, third, fifth, and in this case 7th, because we've got 7th arpeggio. You need to check out the theory lessons really, because that sort of explains it more than I can go into in the time that I've got here to do this video. But the PDF, as usual, is up on the website. The PDF for this, like the major and minor arpeggios, if you're following these arpeggio lessons, is colour coded. The root note in each arpeggio is a black dot. The third in each arpeggio, or flat third in the minor 7 arpeggios case, is a red dot. The fifth in each arpeggio, which is the same in all of them, is a green dot. And the 7th, or flattened 7th, depending, the major 7th in the major 7 arpeggio and the flattened 7th in the minor 7 and dominant 7 arpeggio, they're coloured in a blue dot. And the idea of this, if you're following these lessons, is so you can start to learn where these notes are and visualise them when you're playing and soloing on the fingerboard, and target them if necessary or when necessary. And you gradually build up a sort of a visual picture that you can see these notes around. So what I'll do is I'll show you a little close-up of each arpeggio, and then if there's anything else I need to say, I'll say it at the end. Okay, so here we go with a close-up of the A major 7 arpeggio, but like I keep saying, these are movable forms. You can play them in any key. I'm just doing them in A because it's in the middle of the neck. We're going to start off with our second finger on the root note, in this case A, at the 5th fret on the thick E string. Then we're going to play the 4th fret on the A string with our first finger. That's the third of the major 7 arpeggio. Then we're going to play the 7th fret on the A string with our 4th finger. That's the 5th of the major 7 arpeggio. Then we're going to play the 6th fret on the D string with our 3rd finger. That's the major 7th of the major 7 arpeggio. Then we're going to play the 7th fret on the D string with our little finger or 4th finger. That's the root note going up into this 2nd octave. Then we're going to play the 6th fret of the 6th fret on the G string with our 3rd finger. That's the 3rd. Then we're going to play the 5th fret on the B string with our 2nd finger. That's the 5th. Then we're going to play the 4th fret on the high E string with our 1st finger. That's the major 7th. Then we're going to play the 5th fret on the high E string with our 2nd finger. So and that's the 2-octave major 7 arpeggio. Okay, so here we go with the 2-octave minor 7 arpeggio. We're starting with our root note on the 5th fret of the E string with the first finger. Then we're going to play our 8th fret on the E string with our 4th finger. That's the flattened 3rd. Then we're going to play the 7th fret on the A string with our 3rd finger. That's the 5th. Then we're going to play the 5th fret on the D string with our 1st finger. That's the flattened 7th. Then we're going to play the 7th fret on the D string with our 3rd finger. That's the root going up into the next octave. Then we're going to play the 5th fret on the G string with our 1st finger. That's the flattened 3rd. Then we're going to roll that finger and play the 5th fret on the B string. That's the 5th. Then with our 4th finger, we're going to play the 8th fret on the 8th fret on the B string. Sorry, that's with our 4th finger. That's the flattened 7th. And then we're going to play the 5th fret on the high E string. That's our root note. So ascending and descending, that's. And that's your 2-octave minor 7 arpeggio. Okay, and the last one is the 2-octave dominant 7 arpeggio. So we're going to start with our finger on the A note, that's the root note again, on the 5th fret of the thick E string. Then we're going to play the 3rd, which is the 4th fret on the A string. Then we're going to play the 5th with our 3rd finger, which is the 7th fret on the A string. Then we're going to play the flattened 7th, which is the 5th fret on the D string with our 1st finger. Then we're going to play the 7th fret on the D string, which is the next root note, next octave, with our 3rd finger. 6th fret on the G string with our 2nd finger, that's the 3rd. 5th fret on the B string with our 1st finger, that's the 5th. 8th fret on the B string with our 4th finger, that's the flattened 7th. And the root note again on the high E string at the 5th fret with our 1st finger. So the dominant 7 arpeggio, ascending and descending. Okay, so that's the 3 7th arpeggios with the notes extended to 7. So you've got the major 7, the minor 7, and the dominant 7. And like I say, if you need an explanation on any of those things, they'll be up on the theory section on the website. Arpeggios are very important. If you did the one on major and minor arpeggios, the lesson on that, you start to visualize these shapes so you can target notes in the chords when you're soloing. Great little finger exercises. You could play up the major 7 arpeggio, down the major scale, and vice versa. Really good way of building up your technical ability. You can do the same with the minor and that sort of thing. So I hope you find that useful. It's a really good idea to start learning the arpeggios and working them in with the scales and working in with the theory stuff on the website. You'll start to understand it, and it'll all gradually become, hopefully, more easy for you to understand what's going on and visualize things on the guitar and know what you're doing. So I hope you find it useful, and I'll see you again sometime.